This is central London. What you see looks like a sea of humanity. Hundreds of thousands of protesters poured out on the streets to take part in the Unite the Kingdom rally on Saturday. They were carrying flags of England and Britain. This was one of the biggest right wing demonstrations of modern times in the UK. It was an outpouring against illegal or unauthorized immigration, a demonstration that called for halting migrant crossings, deporting undocumented immigrants, and prioritizing native Britons over newcomers. The protest was organized and led by the anti-illegal immigration and anti-Islam activist Tommy Robinson.
Today is the spark of a cultural revolution in Great Britain. This is our moment. The traitors in Westminster are watching right now. They are cowering. They are trembling. Keir Starmer, the Labour Party, the revolution has started.
Look at these placards. They capture the sentiment on ground. Get them out, save our kids, R.I.P. Charlie Kirk, in memory of the American known for his right-wing views who was recently killed in the United States.
It is very important. They need to stop illegal migration into this country. It's tearing us apart. You know, we've got people here, the veterans, our veterans that fought for us and for our freedom, lying on the streets with nowhere to go. But you pop in, get rid of your documents, and you can have a 4-star hotel, free board and lunch.
I think the current government is a disgrace. It's taking away our liberties and making up things as they go along. I've never seen a government so disorganised.
But these demonstrators were not the only ones protesting in central London that day. A mile apart, they were countered by a smaller group of protesters. The counter-protest was called March Against Fascism and was organised by Stand Up to Racism. These protesters carried banners that read "Women Against the Far Right," "Stop the Far Right," "Stand Up to Racism," "No to Tommy Robinson," and more.
I think that we're at a very dangerous moment. For the past 3-4 weeks, we've witnessed the far right mobilising up and down the country outside refugee accommodation mainly, in a campaign of intimidation against refugees and migrants and Muslims in this country. Tommy Robinson today is going to try and get thousands of those people out on the streets. He's calling it a big free speech festival, but we know this is just an excuse for him to spread some of the worst hatred, division and racism that exists in our society.
There's a fear that the far right are trying to take over. So there's a fear of the rise of that sort of thing, but also the way immigrants and asylum seekers are blamed for what's wrong here. That's totally wrong. It's totally wrong. No. And I think it's racist.
With rival groups demonstrating not far from each other, emotions were charged.
This is our country. You should be here standing with us.
Anti-immigration protesters faced off against the police. London's Metropolitan Police said that its officers had to intervene in multiple locations to stop Unite the Kingdom protesters from trying to access sterile areas between the two protests, breaching police cordons, or getting to opposing groups. It said a number of officers had been assaulted and additional officers had been deployed with protective equipment supported by police horses. So why the anti-immigration protest and counter-protest? Who is Tommy Robinson and what are the issues at play here? Let's connect the dots. Unite the Kingdom protest was purportedly in support of free speech but had anti-immigrant and anti-Muslim overtones. The voice of the protesters was amplified by the man spearheading the protest, Tommy Robinson. So who is Tommy Robinson? Tommy Robinson has donned many hats over the years. The 42-year-old's real name is Stephen Yaxley Lennon, and he once owned a tanning salon in Luton, Bedfordshire. In 2009, he founded the English Defence League, a nationalist group opposed to radical Islam, which quickly gained attention for violent street protests. The group has since been disbanded. He had then told a media outlet that he opposed hardline Islamists, changing the culture of British towns. In 2008, Luton had seen clashes between Muslim groups protesting against soldiers who had returned from Afghanistan and a counter group. Since then, Robinson's fortunes have swung up and down. He has been to jail several times. In recent years, his popularity exploded online, especially after a boost from Elon Musk and Steve Bannon. Banned from Twitter in 2018, he was reinstated under Elon Musk and now commands more than 1.6 million followers on X. For critics, he is a provocateur who fuels division. For supporters, a champion of free speech and patriotism. Robinson played a prominent role in publicizing the sexual exploitation perpetrated by groups commonly referred to as Pakistani grooming gangs in the UK. This he did through his activism and media productions. He pushed for recognition of the Pakistani heritage of the perpetrators. He argued that while official reports and media coverage often used the term Asian grooming gangs, this was an unfair generalization that stigmatized the wider Asian community. He said this obscured the predominantly Pakistani heritage of those convicted in key cases such as Rotherham and Telford. Robinson frequently campaigned for a nationwide inquiry and harsher penalties for both offenders and those who covered up the abuses. His documentary, Silenced, which is banned in the UK but available on X, puts the spotlight on the grooming gang scandal and alleged institutional cover ups. Today, Robinson is among the most popular far right faces in the UK. So, what is the backdrop of the Unite the Kingdom rally? Economic turmoil and people blaming illegal immigrants for taking up already scarce resources and allegedly worsening the crime rate. Over the past 2 months, there have been protests against migrants waiting for asylum being housed in hotels at government expense. In July, one such asylum seeker at the Bell Hotel, Epping, was accused of sexually assaulting a girl. Though he denied the charge, the incident became a trigger for mass protests against the immigrants. So, all in all, immigration has become a dominant political issue in Britain. It has even eclipsed concerns over a faltering economy as the country faces a record number of asylum claims. More than 28,000 migrants have arrived in small boats across the Channel so far this year alone. With record numbers of asylum seekers awaiting decisions on their asylum applications, and that number crossed 100,000 in mid 2025, the UK government is struggling to secure suitable, longer term dispersal accommodations. This has forced a greater reliance on hotels as contingency accommodation when no other housing can be sourced. Anti immigrant Britons oppose accommodating asylum seekers in hotels, besides the various ramifications of unauthorized immigration on UK's society and economy. On Saturday, Robinson used the rally to attack political leaders, especially the Keir Starmer government, and claimed that politicians were parroting his ideas.
The government are attempting to do a U-turn. Politicians all of a sudden are finding courage and they're parroting the things that we have said for 15 years. They targeted us, they slandered us, they demonised us, they attacked us, and they imprisoned us. But they can see the people power, they can see the shift.
According to a report, the 42-year-old is now seeking to consolidate Britain's fragmented far right by allying with Advance UK, which is a new political party launched by former Reform UK members. The rally also saw international participation. Elon Musk made a video appearance and called for regime change in the UK and warned about massive uncontrolled migration.
You're in a fundamental situation here whether you choose violence or not, violence is coming to you. You either fight back or you die.
A French far-right politician claimed at the rally that Europeans are being displaced and colonized by their former colonies.
I'm proud to be among these English people who are revolting, these English people who are weakening, these English people who refuse to die.
While UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer criticized the ideas and conduct of the Unite the Kingdom rallyists, his business secretary did acknowledge the migration crisis but blamed it on the previous government.
On the migration crisis that we inherited from the Conservatives, where their free entry into the UK experiment left us with a disastrous inheritance. So we've been straining at the bit. We've been doing everything we can. The lesson is that by cooperating with our partners, France, rather than rowing with them, we are able to deliver. So I hope the flights will start as quickly as possible. I don't know the exact date they will, but people need to look at this and see that we are straining at the bit. Okay. We are also angry about what we have inherited.
So is there a clear link between higher immigration and higher crime rate in the UK, or between higher immigration and higher unemployment levels there? Arrest rates in England and Wales in the year ending March 2023 showed different patterns by ethnicity, which correlate somewhat with immigration status. The arrest rate for black people was 20.4 per 1,000 compared to 9.4 per 1,000 for white people, who include most native-born, but Asians had a lower arrest rate of 8.4 per 1,000 than white people overall. Also, foreign nationals tend to be involved in a proportion of certain crimes higher than their population share. For example, 34.7% of all types of crime suspects were foreign nationals, with a population share of 12.8%. So concerns around immigrants fueling crime rate are not entirely misplaced. As far as employment goes, fears of immigrants taking jobs from natives are not supported by UK labour market data. Multiple studies and official reports conclude that immigration has little to no statistically significant effect on the average employment or unemployment of the existing native population in the UK. Negative impacts, though, may be slightly concentrated among low education native workers but remain minor overall. So all in all, a balanced approach to immigration is key. While there is no place for illegal or unauthorized immigrants in any country, including the UK, it is also important to recognize the contribution of legal immigrants, like from India to the UK. Remember, the Indian diaspora is estimated to contribute around 6% to the UK economy. Having said that, it is extremely important for all immigrants to abide by the law and have such a conduct that they are seen as assets by the British society and not as a burden or, still worse, as a curse. Before we wrap up, let's end on a lighter note. Imagine taking a swim with your pet dog. That's exactly what happened in Brighton in the UK. An open-air pool there hosted an event where dogs joined their owners for a splash. It is believed to be one of the biggest canine swimming events in the UK. Thanks for watching. We leave you with these lovely visuals. Namaskar.